Hello everyone. Happy Tuesday night. I hope you guys had a great day. I hopped on here right at 8:30 actually. I was gonna get on a few minutes early, but I didn't make it. So I'm gonna wait just a few minutes so everybody can be alerted that I'm on live. So if you're watching the recording, welcome. I'm glad you're here, but you might want to fast forward it a little bit. And if you are hopping on live, say hey and that you're here. A lot of times I can't see who is on, and would love to know who all is jumping on. So I'm going to wait just probably another minute before I get started. Hello. It's always funny when I see that and I'm like, oh, that's right, that's Julie. I know what you meant. Hey everyone that's hopping on. Hey Morgan. Glad you were able to get on live. Leslie Ann. Hey everyone. I'm just going to wait probably 30 more seconds to get started. I'm glad that you all are hopping on. Hey Lizzie. I think it's a very important topic. I'm excited to talk about it. I think it's definitely something that is needed to be discussed, right? And I hope that you get some things that you can maybe incorporate into your own life to just take better care of yourself, because I think it's really, really important, especially as moms. We get really run down. I know I do for sure. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and jump right on in. Those of you that will be joining in, you can go back and watch the recording. If you missed the first few minutes, it'll be saved. And I kept this event up for I think the max I could, which was 2 weeks. So if you know somebody that after you get finished with this that they would love it, you can add them and they can watch the recording. I wanted to just kind of introduce myself and tell you a little bit more about me. So my name is Kari. Since I'm doing this under our brand page, a lot of times it doesn't show up as my name. So I am a co-founder of A Natural Shift with my sister Julie. So a lot of you know us. Hey Laura. We love to get on here and just talk about subjects that we feel are relevant, that we mostly deal with women and moms, and just to get on here and share some of the information that has worked for us and different things that we've seen over the years that we've been doing this. And hopefully it will be some information, like I said, that you can take and really applicable information. We like to get on here and give you things that you can start incorporating right now, that are usually small changes. So that's basically what this is going to be. When we go through this class, I'm just going to kind of follow the guideline that I set out, just kind of tell you why I think this is such an important subject, what might happen and what might kind of be the consequences, honestly, if we don't kind of give this more attention, and then, different ways and different things that you can do throughout the day, and things you can add in, such different products and different things like that that you can, just use to take better care of yourself. So I'm going to just jump right in and just kind of go over and start with why I think this is such an important topic. So, I just see moms all the time that, either come to work with us, or, that I just see, that I'm friends with, and it just seems like everybody, they just are so tired, just physically you can tell that they're exhausted, or they say something like, I never have time to do this or that, or, I'm always just so busy. And, hey, Mary Beth. And it just seems like, I just want to help. It's almost like you just see, and people are crying out like, I don't want to be this tired. I don't want to be this busy. What can I do to sort of combat that? And I mean, I just started thinking about the subject really, as I was preparing for this class, and just in general, it's almost like some of this is it's almost our fault. Like we kind of want to fill all this time and space with things to do. I think that's just the kind of, where we're at in the world and society. It just makes, it kind of, it's almost like you can't just take time out for yourself, and you can't just maybe not have something to do every single night of the week or on the weekends. So I think part of that is just kind of the time that we live in. And so I'm very aware of, especially, I have two small kids. I meant to say that at the beginning. Hello. I have two small kids, almost He'll be 2 next Monday, a little boy and a 4-year-old girl. And so just to kind of give you a background on that. So, you know, I have small children. I know some of you have older children, but still, it's the same kind of subject. But I think that I'm very aware of that, as far as I know that puts more pressure on us as far as just the time constraints. But just in general, it's hard being a mom. You know, I don't think that, hey, Sarah, I don't think that a lot of times, you know, we know what we're signing up for, honestly. But, you know, it's the best job in the world, but it's also one of the most tiring jobs in the world. I mean, I think we can probably all agree with that, no matter, you know, if you have a child that minds all the time and does whatever, or if you have one that likes to throw fits. You know, I have one of each of those, really. So I can kind of relate to both of those, but it's just a tiring job. But it's obviously the best one that, you know, we can all agree that we've ever had. So it's just something that we're so thankful to have. But Stu, too, I kind of thought at one point in my life, how do I deal with all of these now things that I'm responsible for, just as far as taking care of the kids, being a wife, you know, working full time, the meals and different things that have to be done. I mean, it's all on our shoulders a lot of times. And I know, I mean, my husband helps out a lot, but it's just something that as a mom, you just have a lot on you. And like I said, I think we can all definitely agree on that. But that's really why I wanted to go over this, because I feel like I meet so many people that really, you know, they're looking for a different way, basically. They're tired, they're overworked, they're stressed, they just want a break. They want something that's going to just give them that little bit of peace and comfort and you know, just rest that they need. And so I have definitely taken a more a harder look at that in my own life, just because I was there. You know, 3 or 4 years ago, I was stressed out, I was tired, I was overwhelmed, I had no energy. And so I knew that things needed to change. And I've honestly been working very hard at that over the last, I'd say, probably 3 or 4 years. I mean, you know, I've been a mom almost 5 years. My daughter will be 5 in June. But, you know, like I said, I don't think we know what we're getting into a lot of times, and it takes us a little bit of time to adjust to that. And I knew pretty, you know, you just feel that the first year of motherhood for sure. And it was just something that I knew that I had to work on and spend more time on if I wanted to really be the best mom that I could. Because let's face it, if we're not taking good care of ourselves, we really can't take very good care of the people, you know, in our home, our husband and our 2 kids, you know, and our kids, excuse me. I'm thinking about myself. But it's just something that, you know, we kind of want to be super mom. A lot of times I just, you know, you want to come to the rescue for everybody. You want to have that perfect meal for everybody every night. And it's just something that, you know, we do put a lot of pressure on ourselves. Maybe that's not needed, or it's just something that I know a lot of moms struggle with. You know, we live in the Pinterest days where we feel like we have to do everything just so, and we have to have all these great, you know, things for them to take to school, and we want to, you know, make sure that they have the best Valentine that's coming up. You know, I just thought about that. But it's just something that, like I said, we do put a lot of pressure on ourselves. So just going back a little bit about kind of where I was and you know, kind of why I had to take a better look at that. You know, like I said, probably about 3 or 4 years ago, I realized that, you know, I was just not feeling the way that I wanted to feel, or that I knew I could feel. I wasn't necessarily eating the best things for me. I wasn't, you know, taking care of myself as far as, you know, different things that we can do during the day, you know, restful things at night that we can do. I'm going to go all over all of this, but I really wasn't taking out any time of the day for me. It was filled with everybody else. I didn't get up before everybody, so right off I was having to take care of my kids, you know, fix breakfast. It was right out the door to work then. You know, stressful day at work, come home, dinner, you know, put them to bed. I'm exhausted, you know. Used to plop down and watch TV or surf my, you know, phone on Facebook. It was just something that, you know, you just get in those routines, and, you know, you just, yes, you deal with it, but is it really your best self? Is it really, are you treating yourself the way that, you know, you should be treated? You know, I wasn't, and I knew I had to change if something, you know, I had to change something if that situation in my life was going to change. So, you know, if you're there, I've definitely been there, and I hope that, you know, going through this information and giving you some of these applicable things that you can do to take some time out for yourself and just, you know, show yourself some love, hopefully will really make a big difference in your life. I think also when you think about taking time out for yourself, you have to think, it's up to really nobody but yourself. Your husband is probably not going to come in there and say, why don't you go and soak in the tub and, take some time out for yourself and read a good book or whatever you want to do. I'll watch the kids or I'll do this or that. I mean, let's face it, they're probably not going to do that. Every now and then they might, but nobody's going to think about you as much as you should. I mean, I don't know if that makes sense, but I mean, everybody else is kind of consumed with their world. So it's really up to us to say, I'm going to take, 30 minutes, 45 minutes tonight, and I'm going to, get in the bathtub and just soak and take time for myself, whatever it might be for you. I'm just giving you examples. That's what I love to do. So I think it's really important that we have to make the decision first and kind of step out on that, because it's not going to be something that somebody else is going to say, this is what you need to do, in the morning and throughout the day and at night to take care of yourself. It's something that we have to take on ourselves. And sometimes, that can feel like the last thing you want to do is take on another thing. I know that's me. I mean, sometimes you just want somebody to tell you exactly what to do, but I'm going to give you some tips and some of the things that I do. But on a day-to-day basis, that's where the things have to change. I think it's the small things that we do every day that make the biggest difference with anything across the board. And so, when I'm talking about, self-care, I'm talking about daily, not necessarily scheduling pedicure every month. I mean, which that's great, but is that going to make a huge difference as far as your day-to-day energy levels and your, if you get stressed out during the day? Not really, so I think more so I'm talking about the day-to-day things that we can do. And when we're coming from a place of our cup is not filled, then it's easy to get aggravated. We're tired. We don't, you just don't have as much patience, especially with my kids. I felt that coming out, and anytime I know I don't take time for myself, I'm coming from a place of just, my cup is not filled and it's running dry. And, they need us, they need us to be at our best. And that's, we want to give the most we can to our kids and our husband, our family. So I can just feel myself, leaning more towards that. And I know that that's probably the same with everybody else. So when I feel that happening, I know that I need to take better care of myself. And I do, because I don't want to be that person. I mean, I don't want to be that mom that just is aggravated at everything they do. We've all been there, I know. And it's just something that I'm definitely, it's a daily struggle. Let's just say that, right? We know that it's a daily struggle. So I just think that, and two, if you think about the time, like I was saying, it's going to take a little bit more time and just effort as far as just thoughts on, different things that you can do throughout the day. I mean, now they're a habit for me, but before you make them a habit, it's going to take a little bit more time and energy. But, you might be thinking, I don't have time to do anything else in my day because it's so chock full of everything I have to do for everybody else. But I would just encourage you to maybe think about the different pockets of time in your day that you do have and what you do with them. Because I know that I used to think I didn't have any time, especially when I worked all the time and, was gone all day and then came home. But then I thought, well, what did I do once the kids go to bed? I would watch TV or I would get on my phone and do something that really didn't matter that much. So there is time there. It's just what you choose to do with it. And that's with anybody. So I definitely think that, and myself included, we make excuses, for those different things. And it's really, the biggest thing with anything is to just make the choice that you're going to do something about it, right? That you're tired of feeling tired, that you're tired of feeling, aggravated all the time or exhausted or just overexerted in general. So I think it's important to make that decision that you want to change, you want something to change. So you've got to be willing to obviously make those small choices throughout the day that are going to serve you rather than maybe not serve you so well. So, in thinking about different ways that we can incorporate these things, I wanted to kind of go over, 4 or 5 different ways that I feel like are great areas to think about as far as self-care for us as a mother. Like I said, it really starts with making a decision. I think a lot of times when you make a decision to change anything in your life, you have to be ready. It's got to be, whatever you're going to make the change for, you have to have that close in your mind. So whether that is feeling, like I said, having more energy, or feeling a little bit more, I won't say put together, but like you kind of in control of things. Sometimes I feel out of control of things, and you go through the day and you're always reacting to different things. Well, there's things that you can do to kind of combat that. So it's really whatever the feeling that you want to feel more of. I think it's close. It's good to have that close in your mind, because if you're going for any type of change in your life, you've got to keep that close, because there are going to be times where it's just easier to do something else. Where I'm going to talk about diet in a minute. It's just easier to pick the things that are more convenient, that are prepackaged. I understand that. I completely understand that. So it's just, hey Janine, it's just something that you have to know that it's going to take some change on your part, and it's going to be different. So, but we want a different outcome, right? So making the decision is definitely the first step. But as far as thinking about ways to incorporate, the number one top way I feel for myself, now I'm just giving you kind of, that's all I can really speak on. I'm trying to tell you kind of what works for me and what I feel like would work for most people, is what we put in our body. I know we talk about diet a lot on here, but I cannot talk about this subject without talking about that, because if you put junk in your body, you're not going to feel good. You're going to feel junky. You just can't expect to put those things in your body and have energy and feel your best and sort of be on top of your day versus it running you. You can't expect to do that. That's kind of unrealistic expectations in my eyes. So the basic fundamentals of that would just be to try to eat less that comes out of a package. Try to eat more whole foods. And, this is a whole other subject, I know that, but it's just something that it's just so easy to pick those things. And I totally understand. I'm used to eating a certain way, and it's easier for me now because I've been doing it for a couple of years. But it is completely way easier to feed my kids things that are prepackaged and that are ready to go, and they like those things. I'm not saying they don't. All kids would rather have a Cheez-It probably than a piece of fruit or a vegetable. I totally understand that, but it's just something that we have to realize that is not serving us well. It's not giving our body what it needs to perform the way that we want it to. And so to overlook this would be a detriment, I feel like, because, that's really the foundation of where any change that you want to see on the inside or the outside of your body, it all starts with what we put into it. So, and really, just think about, okay, you wake up and, I'll talk about this in a minute, but maybe you didn't get up before your kids and your husband, and maybe you're running late, and obviously it's easy to maybe grab a Pop-Tart or something that's, in the cupboard. But just think about the chain reaction that sets off. It doesn't give you energy. It may give you a headache. You're going to crash later. You're going to be irritable. You're going to be hungry. It's just funny how it sets off a chain reaction, and you're basically almost trying to make up for that the whole day, and you're fighting against that the whole day, rather than setting yourself up to have, energy throughout the morning and be more focused and get more done and just feel more in control of whatever you've got going on, whether that's staying at home with your kids or going to work. You just feel better in general. Yes, Rochelle, you are what you eat. Yeah, I'm not trying to shame anybody here by any means at all. I know that we all do the best that we can, but I'm just trying to kind of, just get you to think about these things, and maybe just put a rock in your shoe, and just, the next time that you do grab that packaged food, just think, well, maybe I could grab something better instead, and just kind of go from there. It's these small changes and these different thoughts that you have that, the more you the more you know, the better you do. I think that's not how you say it, but anyway, I can't think of the saying anyway, but you know what I mean. If you know to do better, you're most likely going to do better. You might not do better at first, but the more and more that you choose better things, it's going to be easier, and you're going to feel better, and you're going to want to even incorporate that more. So you start making better choices in the morning and you feel better throughout the morning, but then you're still making bad choices at lunch and at night. Eventually you're going to get to where you're like, I like feeling like I have more energy, and I like this feeling of wow, I can, conquer things that come my way and not always feel like you're reacting to everything, you're going to want to extend that throughout the day. And it's something that you almost get addicted to feeling that way. And that's I know that those things, not saying that chips don't taste good and that cookies don't taste good completely. They definitely are foods that I like to enjoy from time to time, but I'm not going to pick those on a daily basis because I know the way they make me feel. And so that's all I'm saying, that it definitely starts with those small changes that you make. And just wanted to obviously touch on this subject a little bit because I know what a big impact it can have because I've seen it in my own life. Sorry, I was reading my notes to make sure I didn't forget anything. And to thinking about this subject, a lot of people say, a lot of moms especially, I don't have time to make food. I don't have the money that it takes to buy better food. And I mean, I understand that, but you kind of have to think, where are you spending your time, as far as, do you have, those small pockets of time that you could, go in the kitchen and get a little bit done here and maybe come back in 30 minutes and get a little bit more done. There are times in our day that just kind of slip by us and we don't even realize that, we're just doing these mundane things because we're just used to doing them and that's our habit. I promise you, if you start looking at it, you do have time to make certain changes. And the more that you do it, the easier that it'll be, and the more that you can, the more changes that you'll be able to make. And so, I just think that if we start looking at our excuses that we give ourselves, because believe me, everybody has excuses. I have excuses, but, when you realize that those excuses are not, you're not serving yourself very well at all, and therefore, not serving your family very well, I think it's definitely something that we need to pay more attention to. What are the excuses that we're telling ourselves that really are not true? Even if you just make a couple changes every day, every time that you go to the grocery store, and you just buy more real food, shop from the perimeter of the grocery store, and just leave off one of those, crackers or cookies that you normally buy every time, eventually you'll be mostly buying real food and less processed food. So it really all starts, like I said, with those small things that we can do. And one last point on this, if you want to make these changes, don't wait for anybody else, because like most of the time, probably 95% of the time, your kids aren't going to say, Mommy, I want you to buy more fruits and vegetables. And your husband's not going to say, why don't you not get those chips and get me some apples? I mean, it's just something that doesn't normally happen. But honestly, we're the ones that bring this food into our home. As moms, most of us go shopping. And most of us, we're in charge of all that. And so we're in charge of what we bring into the home and what we don't. So it really is a lot of times in our hands. And I would just say, if you make the decision, don't wait on anybody else to prompt you to do that, because you're most likely going to be waiting forever and it's not going to happen. That's how it is in my house anyway. Okay, so the second thing that I have kind of to how to shift over to better self-care is getting up before everybody else. And I used to think this was counterintuitive. Like, don't I need more sleep as a mom? And I'm always feeling tired, but why should I get up before everybody else? And I never made it a priority, just because I wanted that extra 30 minutes or an hour of sleep, because I felt like I needed it. And for whatever reason, it was so hard for me to get up. That was one of the things that I had the hardest time with. But what I realized is, it does not serve me very well to get woken up by my kids, to sleep in that extra 20 or 30 minutes and be rushed and be late for wherever I'm going, and be aggravated because I'm late and my kids aren't hurrying up. Like, it's just not a good way to start the morning, just overall. I mean, and I know that, we all are there, we either, we don't like getting up, we don't see the value in it, but I'm here to tell you that it makes a huge difference. Some of the most productive, successful, they got it all going on. Those moms, they get up before their kids. And I started to see that, and I started to think, that's the way that I want to be. I want to set out my day and start it the way that I know it should be started in the way that serves me the best. And for me, that is getting up at least an hour before anybody else in the house, because once everybody is up, me time is out the window. Like, as a mom, you have to help your kids. You have to do your wifely duties, whatever that is. You're making lunches, you're doing all of these things. That sanity and that quiet time is definitely out. And so, for me, my day starts with getting up. It starts with, devotion, quiet time, whatever it is for you. I just feel like it's so important for us, to get up before everybody else, just so we can have that time to ourselves. We can kind of get our thoughts together. We're more at peace. We know what, is our priorities for the day. It allows us more time to maybe spend a little bit more time in the kitchen in the morning. Not that it takes a long time to cook, some eggs and saute some vegetables or whatever you're going to eat for breakfast, but just not being rushed. I feel like that's what drains me the most, is feeling like I'm not in control of kind of the situation or time, and I'm running behind. That was one of the things that always used to set me over the edge. You would just feel like you were aggravated at everybody, but it was really my fault, and there was nobody else to blame. I understand sometimes our kids get up early, and sometimes we can't help that, but for the most part, getting up before everybody else is definitely going to serve you the best. And just thinking about, just me in general, and I know that you might be thinking, well, I need more sleep because, don't we all need, so many hours of sleep at night? Yes, for sure. Sleep is vital to our health, but, for me, that meant I needed to be asleep by a certain time. I don't need to be up watching things, maybe on the weekends, but definitely not during the week. I don't need to be up watching a TV show that's not really good for me to watch anyway. I don't really need to be up searching on social media or shopping or whatever you would do at night. Different things that really didn't make a difference that I would stay up doing. Now I make it a point to be winding down by 10 and in the bed and lights out by 10:30, hopefully. Sometimes my husband likes to watch TV, but for the most part, that's when I'm asleep. And so I just think it's really important too. I used to think I've got to have 8 hours. If I don't have 8 hours, I don't even know how I'm going to survive. And it was silly. It really was, because our bodies function on less sleep than that. If I get 7 or 6 hours, not 6 for a long time, but usually 7 hours is what I get. And it really, sometimes we get too much sleep. Sometimes I feel like 8 or 9 hours would be way too much for me, and I'm actually more tired. So just a thought to think about, because I was one of those people that was like, I am not getting up early because I need that extra hour of sleep. So that was definitely me, and I've struggled with that, but I found that this is definitely something that allows me to take better care of myself, and it serves me much better to get up 1 hour earlier, and I feel a lot better about the day. So the next area that I wanted to kind of spend a little bit of time on is supplementation. And, prior 3 or 4 years ago, whatever, this was not something that I ever thought would be such a priority for me, and it should be for a lot of other people, but it really is, because, as much as I try to eat, the right things and get all the daily nutrients that I need, it's just not going to happen. Nobody eats perfectly. And, I remember before, like I was saying, 3, 4 years ago, I was feeling tired all the time. I had headaches every single afternoon. I was just not feeling like, full of energy and vitality like I should. I don't have any health issues, anything like that. I took good care of myself, I thought, but it was just something that's so important for optimal and just vibrant health that I had no idea that I was missing out on. So I didn't want to go through this without mentioning that. Taking a high quality multivitamin, an omega supplement, is absolutely, everybody needs that. I personally take the Lifelong Vitality Pack, and it has both of those two things, plus it also has a cellular vitality complex that helps provide us with energy and antioxidants. And so once I started taking that pack, it was like night and day. I just feel like every mom needs this pack, because it gave me energy. It allowed me to focus. It just sustains your body, and it gives it what it needs to be on top of your health, on top of your game as a mother. And who doesn't need that? Honestly, I don't know who couldn't use more energy. I know that I definitely could, and I've seen a complete difference in my overall health, but most specifically probably my energy and being able to focus on different tasks during the day and not feeling scattered like I used to. Another supplement that I feel is very crucial for women, especially of course mamas, is phytoestrogen. This is a plant-based estrogen kind of supplement type thing that really helps to balance our hormones. And I'm doing actually a class just on hormones later in the month because I feel like it is, again, it's a very important topic, but because it can throw everything off in our life if our hormones are thrown off. But phytoestrogen is really, it's foundational to me as a woman because, you know, when we don't eat the right things, when we don't take care of our body, all those things affect our hormones, and then in turn, our hormones affect everything else about us. You know, our mood, our, you know, we're irritable, we're, you know, maybe our skin is breaking out, we don't have any energy, the weight gain, all of these things can be because your hormones are out of balance. And I just feel like for me, it serves me very well to supplement and, you know, try to balance my hormones as much as possible. And so the last area is relaxation and stress management. And this wasn't really ever an area that, well, I mean, I guess I knew I needed to do that. And I used to get, I mean, it wasn't like I was a terrible sleeper, but I wasn't getting quality sleep, I don't feel like. And I mean, I had this stressful job and I didn't really, I mean, how do you stress manage? I mean, I didn't really know. And so, you know, since I've you know, started doing these different things that we've talked about, and I have essential oils now that are amazing for stress management and relaxation, it's just like I don't even know how I kind of got along without them, honestly. And it's something that's so important as we go through the day, even the morning, noon, night. There's different things that you can do excuse me, to help in this area. And I feel like when we're always sort of in fight or flight mode, a lot of times I feel like that as a mom because, you know, obviously kids are, you don't know how they're going to react lots of times, and you know, you're just kind of wondering and always in response mode as far as just trying to deal with different issues that come up during the day, and that can really wear on your body. And I've had to work on this even, you know, I'll tell you, this is funny. My daughter, you know, she's the oldest, and I think we really got spoiled with her because she was just a really good baby. Didn't really, you know, never really threw many fits, kind of did everything we asked her to do almost. And then came my son, and he's like complete opposite. So it's funny how, you know, I tend honestly to get uptight because I just don't know how he's going to react. I mean, anything can set him off sometimes. So that's something that I've had to really focus on and really work on because I was almost on edge all throughout the day because I just didn't know how it's going to go. And so it's really helped me to know that I can't control everything, but also use the tools that I have to help with stress management, because sometimes, I mean, you know, kids can just be stressful, let's be honest. Even though if they're the best kids, they can have meltdowns in a hot second. So having these tools to help them and help us is been a complete game changer. So I wanted to kind of go through a typical day in my life, just because, you know, I was trying to think, well, what's going to be the best for everybody and how can I let them know, you know, the different things that you can do. So I thought, well, I'll just go through a typical day that you know, a day in my life, I guess, and then just kind of talk about different things and just ways that you can incorporate them too. And those of you that are on live, if you have any, you know, thoughts or different things that you do, please feel free to comment, because other people can learn from you, and I mean, of course, I can too. I'm always looking to kind of incorporate different things in this area, so please feel free to comment and just let us know what you do. Okay, so on a typical day, I wake up at 5:30. I had to actually set my alarm clock on the other side of the room so that I had to get out of the bed and walk all the way over there, because I would hit the snooze button like 10 times. I mean, yes, I still got up at 6, but like, you know, you don't need to hit the snooze button that many times. So I had to move it over to the other side of the room so I'd actually get up when I was supposed to. I then walk into the bathroom and I'll brush my teeth, I'll scrape my tongue. Now that's a whole other kind of topics that we could go over, but it's great for overall health if you want to just Google tongue scraping. I know it sounds nasty, but I'm like, I can't even get up without doing it now. Like, it's the first thing that I do. So I'll do those two things, and then I'll put a drop of frankincense under my tongue. Now, what that does is it actually, there's so many benefits to frankincense. I could go on and on, but it really has helped with my overall mood. It has powerful anti-inflammatory components to it, so it just helps with overall health in general. But it's a great one to use daily because it is so good for overall health. But I've noticed my mood has been a lot better, and I just maybe not as anxious about things, and just kind of even keel more so when I stay on the daily frankincense. So you can apply it topically too. I just put a drop under my tongue. Let's see. So then I'll take Mito 2 Max, and I'll take a Terrazyme. And what those two things do is Mito 2 Max is an energy supplement. It's a natural energy supplement, and it just helps me to kind of get started in the morning and have energy all throughout the morning. And Terrazyme is a digestive enzyme, and it just helps keep things moving freely, and it's never good to get back in that area. So I take those every morning to just kind of clean out and help digest any food that is still sitting on your stomach. So just wanted to mention why I take those two. And two, I'll drink a good bit of water right the first thing when I wake up, because it's great to hydrate your body. I know a lot of us love to drink coffee in the morning, first thing in the morning, and I realize I like coffee too, but our body is basically dehydrated when we wake up because we've been without water for 8 hours or however long. So it's very important to drink however much water, 8, 16 ounces, whatever, of water right when you first wake up or in the first 30 minutes, because you're just hydrating your body, or you're always, all throughout the day, you're going to be combating that dehydration. So that's important. And if you drink coffee, you are basically going to have to drink about twice the amount of water that you would normally drink, because that coffee dehydrates you. And actually, if you're dehydrated, you're going to be more hungry. So a lot of times people are dehydrated and they need more water not to eat. So just to mention that. So then after I do those things, I come up, I have a little office that I'm in right now, and I come and do a yoga routine. And why I did that was because a lot of times when we want to get up early, we don't, whatever it works for you. I'm just kind of telling you what I do. I think exercise is very important for stress management and just taking care of ourselves in general. And so I like to just wake up and do that. I feel like it's relaxing. I can play worship music. I love to, kind of get in that zone and just maybe think about what I'm thankful for, and different things like that. You can even pray while you're doing that. So I love to do that. I also use Balance, the grounding blend, while I'm doing yoga, and it just really, it's a great way to start the day. After that, I do my quiet time and devotion. I feel like that's extremely important. Whether you get up, I'm saying an hour, but if you get up 20 minutes, you need to spend some time in the quiet, not get on your phone immediately, because you need that time to just not be worried about anybody else. You need to be focused on you. So whether that's just reading a small devotion and just praying, or, whatever you want it to be, but I definitely have that time in the morning. Then I'll go downstairs and I'll start, making breakfast or whatever you need to do for your family. I love to set the diffuser in the morning, because I feel like it's great to have those oils diffusing throughout the air. I know a lot of you on here already use essential oils, but if you don't, diffusing essential oils can be a huge mood changer. And, when your kids wake up, they might not be in the best mood, and just to get yourself, in a great mood, wake up, or just energy, whatever you might need, it's a great thing to diffuse oils in the morning. I usually do peppermint and wild orange or citrus bliss. So those are my favorites during the morning. So, we already talked about kind of eating a healthy breakfast. I think it's super important to start out your day with a healthier breakfast versus something that, maybe has more sugar, or, whatever it might be, whatever is unhealthy for you. I know that I try not to eat too many different things with flours in them in the morning, like as far as like breads or muffins. I used to eat pancakes a lot in the morning. That really weighs you down, and it takes a lot to digest that. And sometimes that just doesn't serve you very well to eat it first thing in the morning, is what I've noticed. So just make sure that you're starting out the day right, because if you start out with a lot of sweets, that's normally what you're going to crave throughout the day. And if you don't satisfy your body in the morning, you're going to be hungry all throughout the day. And so, usually I'll do some kind of protein and a fat, and then some fruit maybe. So like an egg, kale, avocado, and fruit. That might be a breakfast that I have a lot. So, it does not take long to make an egg and some fruit. Even just that simple, just taking the time to make your breakfast and enjoy it, it really does set your day off right, and it just helps you, again, to just take care of yourself. And then you can obviously make things for your kids too. It doesn't take long to make breakfast for everybody if you just you make it simple. Don't make it complicated. Also, I think it's very important when we talk about self-care too. A lot of times I feel like I'm always on my phone, and I know that it's so hard now because, I don't know, it just feels like we need to be filling our time with something always. And a lot of times I was just meaninglessly on my phone, and I realized that that's not really taking good care of myself, and it's not showing a good example to my children either. And so during the morning especially, I don't have my phone, I'm not on it. I'm definitely spending time with them, and I think that's very important as a mother, that we need to just think about those things, and is it serving us in the best way. Just going throughout the day, obviously a healthy lunch. I like to diffuse oils all throughout the day as well, just to, whether that would be a pick-me-up in the afternoon, or I love to use Motivate. Here it is right here. It's on my desk. It's called the Encouraging Blend. It just helps me just stay focused and on task and energized. It's a great one for that. So that's basically throughout the day. Now, there's a great blend. I wanted to mention this one. It's called Happy Mama. So if you're at home with your kids and they're just, you just need a little stress management, that's a great blend to use. Like, if you guys want to know what's in it, I can post after I get off of here. But it's a great little blend that I've made for a few of my friends, and I use too, and I love it throughout the day. It smells really, really good too. So going... different things that you might use through the day. Also, I mentioned Motivate. Cheer is another great blend. Peace, that's another one. If your kids are just kind of really out of control, you need to pull out the Peace. Balance, I mentioned that. It's a grounding blend. And then Wild Orange is another great one to use. It's calming, but also energizing. It's one of those oils that's interesting that way, and it smells amazing. So that one's a great one to diffuse. So just thinking about nighttime. So this is really the time it's really in the morning and the night that I try to take the best care of myself, because during the day you're normally busy, and yeah, I will, Valerie, for sure. And you're normally busy with other people, with whatever kind of other people need you to do, and I get that. That's definitely me too. But at night, when we put our kids to bed, that's the time that, I know obviously you need to spend time with your husband. You wouldn't want to do this every night, obviously, spend like every night in the bathtub. But for me, like going and getting in the bathtub and, getting a good book or whatever, I need that like at least 3 times a week. It's just to take that time out for yourself and just really do whatever you want to do. For me, it is a book, but whatever you want to do, it's just that time, and it helps relax you. It helps you get a good night's sleep. There's just so many benefits to. Maybe everybody doesn't like to take a bath as much as me. Like my husband says all the time, like, God, you like to take baths, and I'm like, well, you like to watch TV and football, so I just do what I want to do, right? And you do what you want to do. But when you think about taking some time out at night, so the things that I like to do, obviously, you're taking a nice warm bath, putting maybe a face mask on. I love to do that. It helps to just take care of our skin, which is always great. You can make your own. doTERRA sells a pre-made mud mask that's has all these great ingredients and essential oils that are going to help your skin. It helps with complexion and pore reduction and tightness. I love putting mask on. I usually do that about once a week. And so making your bath with maybe Epsom salt and some oils. My favorite is Aroma Touch. I don't know if many of you guys have this one, but I love using Aroma Touch for putting in my bath at night. Also, before I go to bed, I'll put a little bit on my neck right here. It's called a massage blend, so it's actually you kind of give yourself a mini massage, I guess. But I love this blend so much. I didn't used to use it a lot, but I love it now. It smells really good too, so it's one that I like to use in the bath. Serenity, lavender, marjoram. Let's see which other ones I put. Deep blue. Those are all great to put in the bathtub just to get a nice soak. And then did want to mention this after you get out of the bath. I love to, actually I didn't mention that before you get in the bath. I love to dry brush. I don't know how many of you have heard of this, but it's just kind of another way, another thing that you could add in. You know, obviously don't feel like you have to do all of this, as you're just giving you ideas. But dry brushing is great for your skin. It gets all the dead skin cells off. It helps to increase circulation throughout your body, which is always good. And it helps to you get off that dead skin, like I was saying, and then you take a bath. Once you get out, your pores are open as well. What I love to do is take some unscented lotion or coconut oil, and I'll put a drop of the metabolic blend, which is called Slim and Sassy. And I'll rub it on, you know, my legs mainly is what I do, but it really helps to kind of release the toxic buildup that can be, you know, making added weight to those, you know, different areas, maybe cellulite, obviously, you know, if you're a mom, you have kids, right, or either stretch marks that can help with that too. So that's what I love to do right when I get out of the bath, and you know, just kind of, obviously it's not really bikini weather yet, but hey, we're always thinking about that, right? So just wanted to mention that that was a great thing that you could do too, just to take better care of yourself. Before, you know, if I take a bath or not, but obviously I'm going to wash my face every night. Using a great skincare system can be a really great way to kind of wind down and just take care of yourself a little bit more. I love to use the Virage skin system, but whatever you use, just, I think it's important to kind of not rush through that process. Really take time to take care of your skin. Thanks, Katie. But just to really, you know, again, take care of yourself. Don't rush through these things. It's really important to have a good bedtime routine because you sleep better. Your body knows exactly what you're getting ready for. And it's just a great way to wind down, in my opinion. So I love to use a great skincare system at night. I like to also drink a hot tea before I go to bed. It's just something that helps, again, it helps me calm down, and it's just something nice to have at night. You know, a lot of times I used to want to get a snack at night, and that a lot of times doesn't serve us that well, and so now I've said I'm not eating after 9 o'clock. Definitely, you know, a lot of times I'll just try not to have a snack at all after dinner, but if I do, I usually try to do it before 9, and after that I might still be a little hungry, so I like to get some kind of tea, obviously not caffeinated, but that, or either a lot of times I'll do Naturally Calm. It's a magnesium supplement, and it helps us to you know, a lot of people are deficient in magnesium, which can cause other issues, but it helps us sleep too. So the Naturally Calm, it tastes good too. So just kind of heat up a little bit of water and put some of that in there. You can get it off Amazon or something. It's just a powder supplement that's magnesium. So that's what I like to do. Obviously, I have my diffuser going again. Some ones I like to use at night are Serenity and Lavender, Cedarwood, Vetiver. Peace is also really great to diffuse at night. There's a ton of different combinations you can use, but those are some of the most common ones and my favorites. I love to put oils on the bottom of my feet, and again, I mentioned Aroma Touch on my shoulders. You're like, my God, it takes you forever to go to bed, but it really does. I laugh because I'll say, well, I'm going to go to bed, and it's like 30 minutes later that I'm in the bed. I think every mom does that, but maybe not. Maybe it's just me. And then lastly, last oil, I love to use Clary Calm. I put this right beside my bedside table so I don't forget it. And Clary Calm is amazing for balancing hormones. And again, that is another way we can take care of ourselves, because I'm telling you, you're going to have to tune into my class and realize how much it affects your body if your hormones are out of balance. It is, I mean, like almost any issue that you can think of, a lot of times it can be linked back to our hormones being out of balance as a woman. It affects so many things, and so I love to use this one every single night. I usually put it on my wrist before I go to bed, and so it's got lavender in it as well. It has a lot of calming oils in it that help us sleep too. So, and then lights out by 10:30 is what I usually do, or at least I'm close to going to bed by then. And that just allows me to get the rest I need, but also, you know, be able to get up and start the day over again. So I hope these tips helped you. Sometimes I feel like I was rambling, but I just kind of wanted to show you, kind of different things that you can do. Obviously don't tackle all this at once if this is new to you, but maybe you can pick out one thing that you can start doing and just see the needle move in that area, and then just have these things in the back of your mind, because really the choices that we make and the things that we do affect us so much more than we realize. And we all want to be the best mom that we can, and the best wife that we can, partner, whatever. It's just very important for us to take care of ourselves. That's just the bottom line. And by doing some of these things, making some of these changes, you can take care of yourself in a better way. Now, I know I mentioned a lot of different products. I'd be happy to help you if you don't have essential oils in your home. We have a wonderful team of ladies, mostly ladies, that really take self-care seriously and really are their own health advocate, and therefore they're advocate of their own home. So it's just something that I talk about a lot, honestly, because I know what a big difference it can make in people's lives. And it's definitely an integral part of my self-care, and that's why I wanted to mention all of these things. Now, I wanted to mention too that I have a giveaway. So if you're on, stay on live really quickly. But before we get off, I wanted to mention that if you're new and you wanted to get started, I have actually a little special going on. So if you get started on our wellness team, you'll get a free Kari Calm. So it's just something I thought would be nice, because it's such a important part of taking care of yourself. And so if you're not currently working with anybody, if you're not on another team, I would love to help you get started. So just message me or comment below or whatever, and we'll kind of go from there. So that is the class. Now I wanted to do a giveaway, and it's actually going to be this oil that I talked about a lot, which is Aroma Touch. So if you're on live, please comment and just say that you're here, and once we get off, I'm going to pick somebody. Hey Madeline, I'm glad you finally joined in. I think this is a great topic for you, though. I hope that you got something out of this. So a lot of times too, like I've been talking to Madeline about different oils that can help with her children and different things that she can do. But honestly, sometimes we need the help, more too, because it's just something that we're always thinking about our kids, and so it's nice to think about ourselves and think about the things that we can do for us too, because if we're worn down and tired, it just doesn't serve anybody, like I was saying. So I see you guys coming, that you're here. I'm so glad that you all joined in. I hope this was helpful. I hope this is something, like I said, that you can just take. Thank you, Ashley. That you can take something, whatever, take as much as as little as you want. But I'm glad that you tuned in, and I am going to announce the winner when I jump off. If you're watching the recording, thank you for tuning in. I know that everybody couldn't jump on, live. Obviously, we have to take care of the things that we have to do every day. But we're in this together, right? I feel like all moms can relate to each other, and I've definitely been there, and I want, that's why I love sharing this information, because I want more for people. I want them to know that there's a different way that they can live, and that it's just so much better than what you feel like you're stuck with. So that's why I get on here and share this information. So I hope it helps somebody tonight. So thank you so much. I'm glad you guys joined on. Let's see, Mary Beth said, what did you say that to put in? Okay. I said that I either do a tea, like an herbal tea at night, or I'll use Naturally Calm. It's a magnesium supplement that you can buy. You can buy it on Amazon. I don't think they have it anywhere around here in Cochran. But it's just something you can mix it with cold water and drink it, or I just like to make a hot tea out of it, because it tastes good. They're flavored with different, I use raspberry lemon, and it's just a nice way to something to just kind of sit right before you go to bed. But it helps with sleep and a lot of other things. But yeah, it's called Naturally Calm. All right, well, I will see you guys later. I hope you enjoyed, and be looking out for my hormones class if any of you guys want to join. I made the event, and I'll be posting about that. It's more toward the end of the month. So I will see you guys later. Bye.